in just a second. But if you here, don't be shy. Say what's up. Show some love to the brother. It's been a while since we went live like this. Let me know how your week was going. I know it's only Wednesday, but you're halfway there. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I got some good stuff for y'all today, man. I got some good stuff for you today. Early this morning, if you watch my story, you can find out that I was talking about, we talked about what's the word of today. And the word of the day was morale. And with morale, I'm going to teach you today, it's not about just the moral code that you keep, but it's the principles that you keep that really determine where you're going to end. But it's not about where you start at in life. It's not about where you imagine yourself at, but it's about what principles that you keep that's going to redefine and define just who, what, and how you are and where you are. But other than that, drop this intro real quick. What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Nicholas Mason coming to you with the afternoon, matter of fact, evening legislation, solely for your mental edification. Let's drop this dime, family. And again, welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new, like, share, subscribe. Check out my page on YouTube. We got some great things coming up. I got some events coming up, and I want to tell you guys about it right now. So, if you're in the DMV area on February the 13th, I want you to come down to Graffiti Alley. Yes, yours truly is going to be down in Graffiti Alley. It's a very hipster area where you can leave your mark. You can tag up the wall, spray paint if you like to. Come out there. I'm going to have some food out there. Shout out to you, Mr. Melton King Melton, man. Peace and power to you and your family, man. It's always good to have family in the house right now. But on the 13th of February, family, I want you to join me down in Graffiti Alley. It's off of North Avenue. And we're going to have a car show out there. Shout out to Regent Smiles. This brother, Ron, he's doing great things. He's a young brother, but he pulled this event together with him and a couple other his peers. And I'm one of the vendors that's going to be out there. Great food, great atmosphere. And if you're a car fan, why not come out there and take some good photos next to some good hot rods and create some memories? It's 2021. Don't be cooped up in the house and stressed out. Fear is only but an illusion, my dear. Next thing I want to talk to you guys about. As Black History Month comes up this year is a year that we honor the women of Black excellence, the women of empowerment in our Black community. So for this month, I'm going to do a series. Each week, you're going to see a guest come on the show who is a female, of course. And in her industry, we're going to go into discussion. We're going to talk about their impact they had on their community and where they plan to leave their mark here on this place we call Mother Earth. But I want you guys to tune into that. Black History Month is not just something that happens out of the shortest month out of the year, but Black History Month also has a spiritual presentation behind it itself. And when I say spiritual presentation, this is the shortest month out of the year. This month only has between 24 to 28 days out of the month, whether it's a leap year or not. And with this being said, this is the same type of fluctuation or the movement that the moon goes into, which is correlation to your emotions, and the waters, which is also correlated to the feminine aspect or principle of the woman. But that's a little deeper topic for another time. But while we're here right now, I just want to keep it very surface with you. The principle of these things. So now you guys know, February 13th, you want to come out? Graffiti Alley. I'll see you soon. Don't be humble. Be great. Come get some good food, good music, good atmosphere, and create memories for 2021. We passed the master class year. This is the year of the champions. And you can only wear your crown. Because the crown is only fit for a king and a queen who knows how heavy the crown really is. Because with the crown that you wear, responsibility comes with it. Man, I'm getting into my topic already. I talked about morale. Today's word is morale. Now, when we talk about morale, we're talking about your moral code. We're talking about how you define yourself. What are some things that you keep covenant to yourself? And just to give you guys who want, me to be very stickler about it, the word morale, based upon Webster's dictionary, it says concerned with principles of right and wrong behavior and the goodness or badness of human character. I want to give you guys a little words of wisdom. A man without provision is a man without foundation. And a man without provision and a man without foundation is a man without vision. A man without vision is a man who doesn't have provisions to protect and lead his family. If you're going to lead, if you're going to build, if you're going to be the one heading the pack, take heed to this message that I have for you today. See, it's not about how strong you are. The Bible says the race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but to those who can endure to the end. So it's not about how strong you are. It's not about how fast you can get it done. It's not about how good you look while you're doing it, but it's about, do you have the countenance? Do you have the character? Do you have the content? Do you have the integrity to withstand some of the obstacles that come along with your journey to you reaching your own success? Now, when we look at the principle of these things, your parents, it made me think when I thought about this, man. When I thought about my parents and stuff like that, I used to be a badass little kid, man. I was a chubby little kid. I was a little emotional eater, and I grew out of that. I'm still a little chubby, but I look good anyway. So what I used to do is just a little backstory. I used to I had a witty tongue. I had like a silver tongue. I was very clever. So I would tell my parents. My parents would be like, "Nicholas, I want you to go take out the trash," and I'd be like, "Mom, it's technically dark outside. So I don't think we should take out the trash until we get light outside." And my parent would say, "Nicholas, do what I said and not do what you want to do." But I was like, "Mom, but it's dark outside. What if like a bat come swoop me up out the air, something like that?" "Nicholas, do what I said." And I said, "Mom, come on." And my father coming at, "Nicholas, you better listen to your mother. You got to deal with me." It ain't about the fact that we ask you to take out the trash, but it's the principle of teaching you responsibility. You leave that trash in this house, that house gonna stink. If you don't take out that trash, it can draw a pest and it can draw rodents. You don't want to keep that in your house. And that's just a little backstory to that. But the principle of these things, when we look at the world that we live in today, when we look at society, when you look at your social, economic, and political situation, when you look at your day-to-day communal situation, you tend to assess the man or woman that you encounter based upon a moral code that they keep. How many of you who are viewing right now, and don't be shy if you're tuning in and say hi, say what's up. I don't bite. You know who I am. Don't be a weirdo just watching a peeping Tom. It's all family over here. So check this out. As you're growing up in life, and as I was saying, you as you get to a certain point in life, you begin to mesh or click with people who have the same moral code, who have the same desires, and who have the same type of their life is parallel to yours. They have the same likes, desires, and wants and drives that you do. Not just talking about a significant other, but I'm talking about people you have in your community or who you have what we call your soul tribe. Okay. With this, it comes with a backstory of unspoken, spoken principles and rights that come into place. Now, what do you mean by principles and rights that come into place? Well, everybody has a moral code. For instance, for married men, most married men don't associate with their single friends anymore. Why is that? Well, I'm married now. I'm doing married people things. If I was single, I would be doing some single people things. And single people associate with people who are single, or some of them who really don't give a damn, associate with whatever they choose to find to their liking. Now, their principles may be a little skewed to others, but this is their world and they're living in it based upon their two eyes and how they see it. But moving forward, your principles determines who draws towards you. Okay? When I talk about your principles, the first principle that you keep is that I want to teach you today is that one, you are your greatest marketing tool. When I say your greatest marketing tool, what you wear, how you present yourself as a whole piece. The Bible says present yourself as a living sacrifice. Now, not to give you some theological backstory, but present your body as a sacrifice to what you want to achieve in life. If you are overweight and you want to achieve a slim frame, well, you're going to have to sacrifice the desires of the overweight you to reach the slim you. If you're a person who wants to become, I don't know, a bodybuilder, or you want to become a musician, or you want to start that business, or you want to start a family, you have to sacrifice what you are right now in order to become what you're getting into. See, so don't get caught up in what used to happen, but get caught up in what's happening right now and what's about to happen. Again, don't get caught up in what used to happen and how things worked out for you before, but get caught up in what's about to happen. See, the Bible tells us, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves, turn from their wicked ways, then will they hear from heaven and God would begin to heal the land. Now, when I say God, you can call that the universe, the ethers, your higher self, whatever you may call it. But the healing of the land comes from the fact that you turn away from what you used to do. The things that you used to do don't work anymore. The friends that you used to hang out with don't work anymore. The job that you used to work at it doesn't satisfy you. It doesn't challenge you to do what you said you were going to do. So what you have to do is know that things come in seasons. And the way you know that the seasons are starting to change is based upon the principles that you keep. So the principles that you keep. One, you are your greatest marketing tool. Shout out to you, Kia. Shout out to you, Queen. Peace and power to you and your family. Is the principles that you keep is that you are your greatest marketing tool. You can be dressed like a bum, but you can have wisdom like Jeff Bezos, like Bill Gates, like a world leader, but you look like a bum. See, Moses was a bum at first. He was a homeless orphan child and then became favored in the presence of the Pharaoh. And because his presence in the Pharaoh, he was able to receive certain amenities that brought him new principalities, that brought him new spiritual identities. And from this, he was able to be risen up among his own Hebrew Israelite brothers and bring them to salvation. You yourself may be the first one in your family to go to college and succeed. You may be the first one in your family who's a homeowner and able to keep it down without having nobody co-sign on it. You may be the first one in your family to break that generational curse of not having being a teenage mom. You may be the one breaking that generational curse where you are the ones setting financial barriers to break generational curses such as financial illiteracy. You feel me? We're going to get literate today when it comes to knowing how to achieve the next thing, and it's based upon your principles. And to push that envelope of your principles, after we talk about how you look, when you look good and you smell good, you tend to say good things. You encounter good people and they change your life for the better. But when you are distracted by looking at somebody else's principles and somebody else's moral code, you tend to fall short of the glory. For if my right hand is doing wrong, I should what? Cut it off. See, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. For the steps of a righteous man are ordered by God. A lot of people may say, Nicholas, you know, you cuss, you drink, you smoke a little weed, you have premarital sex and all this stuff that the Bible tells you shouldn't do. Well, the Bible tells me I shouldn't do these things, and God's still working on me, and I'm still working on me. As a matter of fact, I'm still learning to fix my principles. But while I'm at it, I had to tell a couple brothers that this doctrine right here is not just a doctrine of bastardized information, but this is a doctrine of principles. See, the Bible says, for we wrestle not against the flesh nor the blood. See, the weapons of warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty in God for the pulling down of strongholds. See, we don't wrestle against the flesh or the blood. A lot of people got caught up with what happened at the nation's capital before Donald Trump left office, where a whole bunch of these good brothers and these Proud Boys, whatever you want to call it, were able to rush the nation's capital. And a lot of other people were sitting back and saying, how could this be possible? You have people who were Trump supporters saying that Joe Biden's a fraud. You got people who were Biden supporters saying that Trump's a fraud. All in all, you got people choosing sides based upon what somebody else told them to be a side, to my understanding. But when you look at it, what side do you stand on? See, the flesh can easily deceive you. The flesh could easily deceive you. Samson encountered a woman by the name of Delilah, and Delilah was sweet. She was subtle. She was kind. So into her feminine. She was able to overcome Samson's gift and caused Samson to fall short of his glory. When you look at Elisha, how God told Elisha to go meet with Jezebel. King Ahab had Jezebel as his wife. And because Elisha didn't go and confront King Ahab and Jezebel, he fell short of his glory. And it was the reason why he fell short of his glory, many of you may ask, is because he was already given a principle. He was already given a moral code. When you have a moral code and you have a principle, it will build a structure or a temple or what you are. It will define and redefine who you are, what you are, how you are, why you are, and where you are. But it's only based upon the principles that you keep. I want to give you guys a quick little history lesson. If we go back to the Eastern Nile, the people of the Nile, and the temples, as you went into these many vast temples throughout the plazas of Egypt, Cairo, Giza, the Valley of the Kings, Ethiopia, Somalia, Sudan, the Library of Alexandria, the Northern Nile, and the Southern Nile, you will find that in each of these temples that you go into, these temples were considered mystery schools that would push the thinking of one subject to a whole nother dimension that was not understood of the flesh. The Bible says, for the weapons of warfare are not carnal. Many people may perceive what they see on TV as the real warfare that's happening. The world seems like it's on fire. You know what I mean? We got volcanoes erupting. We got businesses being shut down over the world. We got people saying it's biological warfare. We got people saying that people are messing with the elections. All this stuff that is happening in our world today, and we're trying to figure out, are we at war? But if you have principles, the war is not going to happen on the physical plane. The war happens within the spirit. See, it's a tug of war that's going on to decide which part of the fence you will land on. Excuse me. The moral code is concerned about the principles of right and wrong, the behavior of good and evil, or good and bad, that determines the perception of a human character. And how do we determine what a human character is based upon their principles? The principles is one, how they look. The second is, how do they smell? How do they speak? How do they sound? How do they walk? How do they carry themselves? How do they interact with people? And from this, people draw an idea or perception of who you are. And what I want to tell you right now, you may not know who you are. You may still be defining and redefining and figuring out and carving, and you're at the threshing floor, and you may be grooving, you may be shining and polishing some old things to make them look new. You may be cutting away some things that no longer serve you, but at the end of the day, the principles will remain. In Egypt, no matter how many temples they built, no matter how many kings came and how many kings left, the principles, there were 142 laws of life in the temple of Ma'at. This is the principles of Ma'at, or what you may know as the 48 laws of life, or in the doctrine of this book right here, there's over 600 principles, or what we call commandments, in which we should follow. See, the principle is what will sustain you through your storm. Christ asked his disciples, who do people say that I am? And many of these brothers, even though they were sinners, they knew it was something special about this brother, Yahweh or Jesus the Christ. They knew something was special about this brother. But only one out of the 12 could really tell him what was special. And why is that? How could only one out of 12 people who had been in his presence tell him who he was? Well, it was simply for the fact that Peter's principles aligned with what Christ was marketing, what Christ was imparting on people. For those of you who subscribe to Donald Trump, the reason why you're a Donald Trump supporter is because his principles in which he promoted to you, they kind of align with your belief system. So that kind of defines why you may act the way you do when you didn't get what you want from Donald Trump, when you didn't get what you want from America. For those of you who support Joe Biden, your principles align with what Joe Biden and his politics and how he presented it to you. And from this, you act out a certain way. For those of you who go to different denominations of ministry, whether you are in a school of theology under the Christian faith, the Islamic faith, or you're under the Judaic faith, there are different denominations of each of those monotheistic practices. Even if you're a paganist or a polytheistic thinker, where you have an idea of worshiping multiple different deities on multiple different realms and levels, you still have to keep the principles of that deity in order to receive a proper reciprocity going on. See, the principles will remain as the flesh falls away. See, the Bible says the man couldn't survive off bread alone, but everything that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Now, you may ask, what is the mouth of God? I'm going to post up my podcast. I want you to check it out too. I have 3 awesome brothers, Cole Heru Shimbe, and we have brother Dorian Turner from Plant-Based Rarities. I have a podcast where we talked about this, but I talked to them about the principles in which we should keep. Now, the principles is all based upon what your belief system is. When you start a business, when you go do a job, fill out for a job, interview for a job, or you can fill out an application for a job, when you go join a different church, when you join a club at school, there are bylaws that are presented to you. When you go sign up to run for office, there is a bylaw, there is an addendum that is presented before you in which you must agree to. Even when you sign up to subscribe to an app on your phone, there is some conditions and there's some principalities that you must abide by in order to receive the fruit of whatever you're indulging into. Now, if you don't keep those principles, what happens? You're removed, or the thing in which you were seeking after falls to the wayside. In the world that we live in today, I believe there are far and few who keep the principles of common sense. Those who apply the common sense, they don't stress over what they see on the television. Those who have a firm faith in a belief system in place, they don't get wavered too easily from the distractions of the world, because their faith and their principles have an alignment with something beyond what the world tells us. Be not conformed, but be ye transformed with the renewing of your mind. Behind these 2 lenses that you see is my mind. Sometimes my eyes can play a trick on my mind, but my mind, inside my mind, there's something deeper called your spiritual atom. This is called the black dot inside of you, the El Cristo Negro, the black dot inside of you. This is where your principles hold the keys to your principles. This is the root of your principles. See, your vibrations, your aura, all comes from how you perceive. First, I said you got to feel good. If you look good, if you smell good, you tend to say good things. As a man thinketh, so is he. So if you think on a level of positivity, if you think on a level of I can, I will, I shall, I must, you will, you can, you shall, and you must. But if you can't, you say I won't, I couldn't, I shouldn't, I wouldn't, you won't do these things. The shifting of your thinking also realigns, redefines, and redirects how your principles will turn out in the end. Today, as we look at our world moving forward into 2021, we're presented with the opportunity of getting vaccinations for COVID-19. We're being presented with a new strand of COVID-19 being presented to us. We were given promises from our new president and vice president of a $1,400 stimulus check. But I've come to find out with my research that the Republican Senator Stephen Stivers from Ohio has made a claim, and he's saying in order for people to receive their stimulus check after Nancy Pelosi has paraded 8 months around and trying to figure out how much to give us, but it took her 5 days for them to pass this addendum to get the impeachment going. The principles are not aligned for the people who need help. They're offering vaccinations in order for you to get a stimulus check. They're telling you you can't go to these places. You can't go to church now, but you can go to Walmart, Target. You can go order off of Uber Eats. You can go to these major wholesale stores, these department stores. You can go to these big stores, but you can't go to these mom and pop stores. You can't go to these small businesses that have just the little things that you need to help you go just a little further. You can't support the little man because the big man has already made up in his mind that there's only one man. Now, we know that somebody's principles are not in alignment. The Bible says that for the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous sake, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken. So what you see right now If your principles aren't in alignment, you'll go seeking to and fro and high and low and in and out to many of these different false prophets and teachings, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. You become an information junkie. AI is becoming the new God. People who have taken artificial intelligence into a whole nother paradigm. People don't believe in the principles of the old way anymore. People don't believe in what history tells us. People don't believe in what science tells us. And it's based upon the principles in which they keep. So what do you do when the principles that were taught to you from a young age has now become diluted and it's kind of aloof and it's not there and it's not as prominent as it used to be before? Who do you turn to? Where do you go? And how do you realign yourself and redefine yourself so that you can excel and elevate to a new, higher self of which you are? Well, one, don't get caught up in what used to be. Get caught up in what's about to be. That's one. Two, be consistent in what you say you are doing. It don't require you to talk. The loudest one in the room is typically the weakest one in the room. For a fire that is quiet has the possibility to destroy much more than a fire that is heard coming. See, what would happen if a tree would fall in the forest and nobody was there to hear it? Does it make a sound? But if someone was there to hear it, does it still make a sound? Only because someone's there to recognize it? No. The point that I'm trying to make to you is when nobody's watching you, keep those principles strong. When people are watching you, practice how you perform. Perform how you practice. All goes into the same balance of things. See, the weapons of warfare are not carnal. If your spirit is right, if your mind is right, if your heart is right, these things 2 or 3 or more are in alignment, even if your gut is right. All these things shall be added unto you with good measure. It is pressed down, shaken together, and runneth over into your bosom. This is the promise of a lifetime. When you know who you are, what you are, why you are, how you are, and where you are going, nobody can tell you otherwise. When you look at great people such as Al-Hajj Al-Malik Al-Shabazz, as you look at people such as Marcus Messiah Garvey, Shirley Chisholm, Kwame Ture, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, you look at great people such as, come on, let's keep the list going. Drop some names in here, my people. Drop some names in here. We look at people such as Muhammad Ali. We look at people such as Elijah Muhammad. We look at people such as Alex Trebek. We look at great people such as Viola Davis. We look at great people such as Denzel Washington. Whoever you define is great and what is great in your life. Hey, my mom is great. My mom she's an OG. My great grandmama is an OG. My dad, OG. My granddaddy, OG. You know what I'm saying? You got to speak these things and know these things because they define and will redefine who you are. If you think wearing skinny jeans is a principle that you should keep, if you think that wearing these choker chains as a boy is a principle that you should keep, you should really look at the bigger picture because while you thinking you looking fly, you looking fresh, and you looking cool, it ain't girls that's just looking at you, playboy. Them tight pants don't got circulation. So without circulation, there can be no percolation. Without percolation, no penetration, no regeneration of who you are. And that's based upon the principles that you keep if you keep looking at the lies that they tell to your vision. I know I'm hopping around and I'm dancing around, but the principles that we see today have fallen to the wayside. The youth are against the elders, and the elders are against the youth. The rich is against the poor, and the poor is beginning to mount up against the rich. The believers are going against the non-believers. The artists are going against the viewers and the spectators. And what is to come from this? The great Orlando Jones in American God says that anger gets shit done. Being mad gets shit done. And I think you ought to get mad if you look up at and you look around at your life and you see that things aren't where you want them to be, and you aren't quite where you want to be in your life. You haven't accomplished and reached that mountaintop that you wanted to be in because you still feel like you're in the trenches of life. You're still in the valleys of life. Well, start to try to reshift the way you define yourself. Change the way you dress. Read a new book. Go write a new story. Go travel to that place you haven't been to. Eat that new meal you have never had before. For this will begin to define and redefine, how you see the world as a whole. The principles that we keep will take us to the next level. The principles that we keep can keep us in the same level. But ultimately, you must be not carnal, but be of the spirit. You must feel, put your mind and your heart on one accord, so that the Holy Ghost, the ethers, the universe, the Most High, your higher self, whatever you call it, can come into play. For we wrestle not against the flesh nor the blood. You say black on black crime is a problem in our community. Well, you go to a predominantly white community, you're going to see white on white crime. You go to an Asian community, you're going to see predominantly Asian on Asian crime. You go to a Latin community, you're going to see Latin on Latin crime. See, the principles get skewed when you go outside of who you are. So listen to who you are, the common sense, the instinct. You know that fire is hot. If you can't swim, don't jump in that deep water. You know what I'm saying? Use the instinct to help reassess and redefine in which the way you see, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you dress, and the way you live your life. Principles is a big thing, family. And if you don't have them, somebody else will redefine the way in which you see the principalities of this world. The battle is not happening of the flesh, but it's happening of the spirit. And the spiritual battle is whether you'll believe in this new artificial intelligence God or you'll believe what the God in you said. See, the Bible talks about how Christ came to this temple and he told all these people who were there, who were selling, who were gambling and trying to make profit, who were novice, essentially. They were trying to make profit off of the word of God and the words of the apostles and prophets who came before Christ. And Christ said, this is some BS, man. I'm going to tear this temple. I'm going to tear this temple down in 3 days and rebuild it. And the brother said to him, nobody can rebuild a temple in 3 days. It took 45 years to build. Pause. The physical temple that he was talking about, to my understanding, was this. The fleshly temple. You may be 45 years old. You may be 35 years old. You may be 54 years old. Wherever the age you are is the maturation or the maturity in which your temple is at right now. You may look at your temple. You may look at this flesh and this clay house and see the chaos in which it came from, and you only operate under the chaos that it offers. The dysfunction from your past is what you think is what you should be in your present. The shortcomings in which you fell short on in the past is who you are now. The devil is a lie. Deception, deception, deception. But if you focus for 3 days with fasting, if you focus 3 minutes with breathing, if you focus 3 hours with studying, if you focus with 3 miles of walking, so much could happen. So much change could come to pass. The shifting doesn't happen until you shift. See, it's like starting a car. You need the alternator to start the car. The alternator, the transmission, something like that is wrong in the car either won't start or it won't move. Now, you can have a car with no transmission in it and have it on. But once that car is on, you better not turn it off or the car won't start no more. This is based upon the principles in which the construct is offered to how a car runs. You may be missing that little something and you can feel it. You can taste the milk and honey in your future, in your foresight. You can taste the prosperity and what God has for you. You can see what the prophets and the apostles and your pastors and your overseers and these intercessors have told you. You can see what friends and that person you met on the street who didn't know you from a bag of apples told something positive to you. You can see what they're saying now. You're reaching for it. You're grabbing for it. You're almost there. But you can't grab it in the physical. Why can't you grab it in the physical? Because the weapons that you need For if God is for me, who can be against me? But if the weapons of warfare are not carnal, and I know that if God is for me, who can be against me? I need to grab my weapons of the Spirit. I need to put on the helmet of salvation. I need to have a saved mind, a clear mind, a sober mind to redirect and to redefine other minds who come to learn from this mind. I need to have on the breastplate of righteousness, which is to have a clean heart, a heart of servitude. And I'm not talking under the theological diaspora of Christianity. These are principles in which I'm teaching you and that I'm imparting unto you right now. I need to have on the loin girdle of truth to know that when I'm born a boy, I am a boy. When I'm born a girl, I am a girl. And just because I may feel like I'm a girl doesn't mean that I am a girl and you should call me she when I obviously look like he. Or when I'm a she, I shouldn't be called he, and vice versa. This is, if you ain't agreeing with it, you can let it be left alone. But this is the loin girdle of truth, or knowing to respect the principles of your sexual organ. To know that when you have sex, this is a powerful transfer of energy that is happening when you taking this act of Tantra or Kama Sutra. The next thing is talking about the gospel of peace. See, when you are aligned with the proper principles and what you should keep, you have this grace where it's like you're almost floating, you're almost gliding across the floor. When people see you, it's like they stop and they stare. Everyone's watching to see what you won't do. Everyone's watching, looking at you, moving forward. The next one you will have is the sword of the word of truth. See, when you got your principles right, you don't got to lie. You don't got to fabricate. You don't got to finesse. Because you know that the bread that you're surviving off of is not the bread of the carnal thing. It's an inside man that's bringing it out to the outside man. It's a teamwork effort. For we have this ministry. We have this ministry. And the last one is the shield of faith. You know that any obstacle, any oppression, any inclination, insurrection, degradation, misplacement, or misnegotiation, miscommunication, something that falls short or to the wayside, you know that with this shield, you know that with this belief, this internal feeling, like Jeremiah says, it's like fire shut up in my bones. It's like when God asks Ezekiel, can these dry bones live? Well, surely you know that, God. Based upon the principles that you keep, no matter the affliction or infirmity, you know that the test was only meant to bring you a testimony. Remember, family, it's not the fact that you didn't listen to what your parents told you. It's not the fact that you didn't go for what you said you was going to go for, do what you said what you was going to do. It's the principle of these things. Family, that is what I have for you. I want you to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. If you like what you're seeing, continue to follow me. We're just getting started in the year 2021. Starting next week, we're going to have our first female guest on, and we're going to be talking about for the year 2021 as we go into Black History Month. We're going to be offering you a women's empowerment on Black excellence for the women in the year 2021 and the month of February. Also, I want you to check out my podcast where I have my two brothers who come on every Monday. They, Dorian Turner, he is the owner of Delano's Plant-Based Rarities. It's an awesome plant-based menu. He's housed out of Washington State. I heard he's going to be transferring over to the East Coast soon. So be out on the lookout for that. You definitely want to check him out. He's a great guy. Also, you want to check out Brother Cole Fountain, also known as 666 Love, or Brother Kohero Shimbe. This brother is excellent when it comes to the fitness program. He has a great, excellent fitness program that he offers. He also does music, and he has a model. So, ladies, gentlemen, photographers, all this stuff, if you want to get more information, tap into it. Also, before I leave, Valentine's Day is coming up. If you're interested in getting some cheesecake stuffed strawberries for the holidays to make that special someone have something that they won't forget, hit my DM box. Look out for the promotions for that. On the 13th, we got a car show It's going to be in Graffiti Alley. I want you guys to check it out. I'm going to have some good food on sale for you. You can check out some hot rods. Plus, we're going to have some spray cans out there so you can tag up the wall too. So this is the year of the champions, y'all. Don't be humble. Be great to what's in store for you and go get it. Don't wait for somebody else to bring you your stimulus. Stimulate your own success, and God will lead the rest. But until next time, family, don't be humble. Be great. Man, that is excellent. Excellent. Peace. Yeah.